hand guards. Now these are like a matte carbon finish. Now these are a matte finish, 100% carbon twill, I think they call it, this type of finish. But they're absolutely beautiful. I'll try and rotate them and keep in focus. You get all of the mounting, you know, bolts and everything inside. These are lovely. I'm really looking forward to getting those on, but not today. I've also got the rear parts that go on the bike, like the exhaust, the frame covers, I guess you'd call it, on the back, 2 of those. And as I mentioned, the tank cover, again in a matte carbon twill finish. So there is the motorcycle. I've done a few things since you've last been here. I ordered the rear hub nut, so I've removed all the rear hub. I've taken everything off of the swinging arm. I've also removed the headstock. I had to wait again and order a special tool to get the headstock off, but I've removed all the headstock, ready for some polishing or whatever's going to happen to that. I've also disconnected all of the electrical connectors from the engine. So in theory that engine is now completely disconnected from the wiring loom, so we should be ready to lift the frame off of that later. To get the swinging arm out, I've made myself a tool. Yes, I'm very clever. I have opposable thumbs. So I can't take full credit for this. Massive thanks to the chap who sent me the link to the swinging arm extractor tool, which he made. Sorry, I can't remember your name, fella, but I think this is going to really help me. Rather than just beating this spindle for the swinging arm to death to get it out, we've made this little extractor tool. So it wasn't my idea, but it's using a bit of threaded bar, an old spacer I had from the Supermoto project, a bit of aluminium tube, and I'm basically using that as some sort of puller and a nut on the end, a puller extractor tool for the swinging arm. Now, biggest problem with this is I can't do this job with the bike on the other stand because I've got to get the spindle in here and this is in the way. It's all, unfortunately, in the way on the stand. So I've got to get the bike off of the stand and onto the engine lift. So this could be a little bit tricky. I'm going to enlist the help of an unwilling participant. Here is Chops Jr., my unwilling assistant. Yeah, we've got to lift this whole lot off and put it onto there. That's the plan. Okay. Some luck. That. To me, to you, to me, to you. So this is the video which was very kindly shared with me. And basically they've done the same thing, a bit more sophisticated than mine. They've put a tubed piece of external tube, the threaded bar goes in the middle, and then basically that screws into the thread at the other side, and you can then wind on it and draw the bolt out as opposed to beating it to death. So that's what I've attempted to recreate here. Let's see how we go. So before we start, we need to remove, this is why these bars are threaded, because they have these like little covering bolts. These bolts are just used to sort of hide the big ugly Allen nut behind, if you like. So you get rid of these little covering bolts, and this is why it's threaded, so these can go to the inside of the rod. Get rid of that, and then we have a big socket in here. I must say, I've been very lucky with how easily things are coming undone on this bike. Very, very lucky. Yeah, that's popping. I think that's actually off of the thread now. So now the idea is I wind my threaded bar into the thread at the other end. I don't know how far you have to go in actually. I guess I've only got to go in a little way just to capture it from this side. And then my washer goes in there, that little space goes on there, and we wind this nut in. Talk amongst yourself. Right, ready to do it. Now, I've actually ballsed this up a little bit. I thought this bar screwed all the way through to the other side, but it just screws to this side of the nut. So I actually made myself just a little bit, because it's only better to extract it that far. That may be enough, but if not, I've got a bigger bar, I can make a longer extractor. Yeah, I should have done that. Oh well. Call this the Mark 1 version. And then basically, I should just start winding on this, and that should pull that out. Come on, you're impressed with this, aren't you? You're impressed? I could tell you are. You thought I was going to be beating this for days, trying to get it out. And look what I've come up with the help of YouTube and friends. Bloody brilliant. Right, things are going loose now. I think we could be there, you know. Look at that! It only worked! And this should now lift out of here. It's going to upset the balance of my whole bike, isn't it? Ah, come on out! Look at that! Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. Where's some cigar?
He loves it when a plan comes together.
What I'll do, I'll just put a few details about this little thing I made in the description if you want to just know what size rod you need, pitch, etc, etc. So and I'll link to the items I bought to make this. It cost me about 20 quid this. I think I can make an extend. I should have made that longer. That worked fine. It was out by the time it pulled it out through here, it was out. But you could make that longer in case yours is tighter. I may make a longer bit of tube and keep this as a tool for moving the swinging arm. It may work for other bikes as well. I'm dead chuffed. Okay, so I've just done a slight rejig of the strapping to hold it further down, because now the swinging arm's gone, the centre of gravity shifted and I wanted to swing forward again. So I've just restrapped it differently. Now I'm going to take off the rear sets, so it clears access to the frame a bit more, because the rear sets sort of tuck right round behind the frame. If I'm going to lift the frame off, I want to make sure it's as clear as possible. So get the rear sets off, and then I think it'll be ready to try and drop the frame off the engine. Oh! These rear sets, of course, won't be going back on because we'll be refitting the Sato ones. Blingy bling bling blings. They're done with. There we go. Rear sets off. Frame is now clear here. I think it's just held on with some spindles, a bit like the swinging arm, underneath these rubber caps. The whole thing should then hopefully just lift away, revealing the engine. Maybe time for my unwilling assistant. Get your rubbers off. So this should be a simple matter of just undoing the bolt. Sliding the bar out. 15. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Come on, honey. Oh, come to daddy. Look at that. Just slides out. No corrosion. Unbelievable how lucky I've been so far. While we await the unwilling helper, this is a groundbreaking moment when that frame comes off of that engine and we're just left with an engine. Then that's the point where we start cleaning, we start rebuilding, we start putting things back together in better condition. I'm looking forward to start sanding the engine down, getting it cleaned up, getting the casings off, get them sent off to factory projects to be Cerakoted, and then start putting things back together beautifully. I've been getting completely obsessed with this project. I'm terrible. If I've got a project like this, it occupies my mind, and I'm thinking about it 24 hours a day. Well, 20 hours a day, 4 hours sleep. I'm just thinking about it all the time, what colours I want to do, stuff, how I'm going to tackle certain bits of the project. I get a bit obsessed with a project like this. This was just going to be a quick clean-up of the engine. It's developed into a complete rebuild, and it's going to be an incredible thing at the end of this. I hope, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But yeah, this is a big moment. The frame coming off is basically the starting point where we can start putting things back on, start cleaning things up. Oh, it's exciting. Where is he? Come out for 5 minutes. He's seen it. Burgers. Burgers. I could be laying on the floor with a bike load on top of me. Come help me. He's too busy playing the Xbox. Come on! Here he is. I should. Put the floor down here. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Brilliant. Yes, thank you. There we go, guys. One frame, one engine. I'm now one of those guys with no longer do I have a motorcycle. I just have a frame and engine and a box of bits. I used to have 2 bikes. Now I'm one of those people with just a shed full of bike bits. But there it is, the engine. The engine. I can now concentrate on taking bits off of the engine. Well, not too much, well, the oil feeds and the oil cooler. What I'm going to do next episode is start getting my sanding discs out, cleaning up all this horrible paint which is flaking off. Put the, obviously, mask things off, put the first coat of primer on. I was going to prime and paint over all these casings and then take them off at the end and then send them off to be blasted and cerakoted. So there we go. Next episode we will start prepping this engine for paint, taking the last few remaining bits off of it. It's gone really well. I can't believe how easily this bike came apart. I bought myself impact drivers, all sorts of blow torches to just get undone stubborn bolts, but I've not really found any. There was one on the rear caliper where I needed to get the blowtorch on it. That was it, and that came out relatively easily. I've been so lucky with how this bike's come apart. I think it just goes to show it's low mileage. You know, it's never been apart before, so everything is done up to the correct torque from the factory. So there's no gorillas been working on it over tightening things. Well, until now anyway. But there we go, guys. Thanks for watching. Next one, things are going to get a bit more technical and less just taking things off. I'm going to have to use my brain and try and remember how this bike goes back together at some point. I will probably need the service manual for that. But thanks for watching.